Hello and welcome to Math is Easy Step by Step. I'd like to give a shout out to Jesus, who had contacted me regarding a question. He wanted to know how to factor the expression x cubed minus 36 times x. And so I'm going to go through these two videos. One is to show step by step how to factor this expression. The second video will be going over step by step on how to check your answers to make sure you've gotten that answer correct. So, hey, let's go ahead and get started. Step one, you want to take out the greatest common factor, G.C.F. But before we do that, I do want to mention this particular problem is going to take two different type of factorings. The first is the greatest common factor, and then we're going to take the factor the difference of squares. So two different type of factorings. If you need to review those, please look at my prior videos concerning factoring. I go over how to factor using those two types of factoring. It'll help you with this if you get confused during the video. Another thing is I'm going to show invisible ones with our variables of x. That also helps to clarify things and eliminates confusion. So if you haven't watched my video on invisible ones, please watch those as well. They will help you. Those were uploaded in the past, so you can check those out. All right. So the first step is to factor out the greatest common factor between these two terms in the expression. X cubed is a term. Negative 36x is another term. And I know since we're going to be factoring out perfect squares, I want to find two values that multiply to a negative 36. So I'm going to set that up here to the right is my factor tree. That's what you'll see over here on the right. And I'll go over that a little bit later. First, let's find what is the greatest common factor between these two terms, right? So x cubed is x times x times x, right? Invisible 1, right? If you haven't seen my video, check it out. 1 times 1 times 1 is 1x. And what we do is we take the invisible exponential power of 1, and when we multiply with variables that has the same base, the rule is you add the exponent. So 1 plus 1 plus 1 is x to the third power. All right, I wanted to break that down. And over here with this term, we have 36 times x. I'm showing you that down here. We're going to be breaking down in exponential form negative 36, or using our factor tree to try to find out what two numbers multiply to a negative 36 but add up to 0. And we'll go over that in just a moment. I'd like to continue moving on. So again, we are looking for the greatest common factor between these two terms here. So I'm breaking this up in exponential form. I know that x cubed and a negative 36 times x, they both share at least one x value. So that's going to be my greatest common factor between these two terms. I'm going to factor out an x from both of these terms, and I'll show you that here in one moment. Again, greatest common factor between both of the terms is a x, right? So this is a 1x. So I'm showing the invisible 1 in front of the x. And this is x to the first power. And it's always invisible unless there's a 2 or a 3 or a 5 in the exponent's place. So I want to make sure I'm showing you that, and it's crystal clear. All right, so step 2 is to divide. Oh, it's getting a little shaky in here. I pardon the shakiness of my camera. I'm looking to get a new camera. And so that takes some funds. It's going to take some time. Step 2, we want to divide the greatest common factor, that's our 1x to the first power, into both of the terms, right? So I want to divide 1x into both of these terms. And so understand the rule. When you divide exponents, you subtract. When you multiply exponents, 1 plus 1 plus 1, you add them together to get 3. So moving forward, if you haven't seen those videos, you can go ahead and check out those videos if you would like. I have prepared those videos on the rules for exponents. So again, when you divide x to the first power divided by x to the first power, what's 1 minus 1? It's 0. Anything to the 0 exponent is 1. Or you can look at it like this. Anything over itself. X divided by x is 1. Okay, I'm left with x times x. 1 times 1 is 1. X to the exponential power. 1 plus 1. Again, the rules, we add those guys. I'm left with x squared on the top. I'm factoring out an x with the negative 36x terms. X divided by x, again, is just 1. So negative 36 times 1 is a negative 36, right? So organize and show your greatest common factor. So what did I take out of these two terms? I took out 1x. That's going to go outside of my parentheses I'm showing you here. 1x was factored out. What remains? X squared minus 36 stays on the inside of those parentheses, right? And so now we're going to continue on factoring. But before we do that, take a look up here at my factor tree. Excuse me. These are all the numbers that multiply to a negative 36. I'm looking down here. Raise this up a little bit. I'm looking down here inside the parentheses. I know x times x is x squared. And so from here, I'm going to have to continue to factor what's inside the parentheses. And this is called the difference of squares, right? Because x is a perfect square and a 36, excuse me, is a perfect square, right? And I'll show you that in a moment. So we're going to continue factoring what's on the inside. All right. So step 3 is to continue factoring what's inside the parentheses, the difference of two squares. It's what I call, we're going to do reverse FOIL. And that's how we're going to factor the difference of two squares. And so as you can see here, reverse FOIL, and it looks like this, right? Where I'm going to multiply x times x to get x squared, right? Now I need two numbers that multiply to a negative 36, but you see there's a missing x term, right? I got an x to the second power. There's no x term in the middle. What does that mean? That means two numbers that will multiply to a negative 36, right? Because we're going to put them inside the parentheses here. When you add them together, will give you 0x in the middle. That's the difference of squares. So let's take a look at this negative 36. What numbers will multiply to a negative 36 that add up to 0? None of these would add up to 0. Ooh, here we go. Negative 6 plus a positive 6 would add up to 0. Negative 6 times 6 is a negative 36. It's the product of a negative 36. And 6 times a negative 6 would also give you that same value. So I think I have found those two numbers. I'm going to come back down here, and I'm going to show you off to the right. I know that x squared right here is x times x. So that's what I'm putting inside the reverse FOIL. And I know negative 6 times a positive 6 gives me negative 36. And will add up to 0. And will represent the negative 36 inside these two parentheses. Let's take a look. What does that look like? You see it right here. Now, what I don't want you to forget is we took out an x that originally, right? Remember, we divided an x to both of those terms, so we put that on the outside of the parentheses. That has got to stay on the outside of your parentheses, right? That stays as part of your answer on the outside of the parentheses. But now we're just going to factor the difference of squares on the inside, which is x times x gives me x squared. Negative 6 times a positive 6 gives me negative 36. And if you're going to FOIL this out, you would see negative 6x plus a positive 6x gives you 0x. So this is the factor of that problem. In the next video, I'm going to go over and I'm going to show you how to check your answer. Math is easy. Take it step by step. Thank you, Jesus.